All right, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. So,
How you doing? How you doing?
Tell him how it's like to work in the corporate world when you sign a corporate contract. Tell him. Tell him.
I signed a contract. They tell me what to do, what I am not allowed to do, and in return, they pay me handsomely. So I don't do those things that they say I can't do. It's actually pretty simple.
It's actually not that difficult, by the way. It's really not that difficult. Really. What they're asking you not to do is just stuff you really shouldn't do anyways. That's all. It's not. It's nothing special, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's because I had people on Twitter tell me, "Well, Jaws, is he breaking the CBA? Is it breaking a law having a gun in his state?" And that's not the point. You don't get it, bro. You don't get it. He signs
really
with
dumb.
the NBA, bro. It's different.
It's just dumb. Like it's not like Carson Wentz, posing with a hunting rifle out hunting, which like I still don't. I think it's corny to post online, but to each their own. But like waving around a gun in a completely unrelated to hunting circumstance, like what are guns supposed to be for? Right? Like hunting and self-defense. Like, do you really need that? And if you're in a situation where you need a gun waving around for self-defense in the front seat, what the hell are you doing if you're Ja Morant in that situation anyway? Like, you shouldn't be there. Right. It's on a $200 million contract, bro. Like, so nah, man. I don't agree with it. I think he should be suspended purely because this is the second damn time that he's done it. This is the second time the season just ended like 2 weeks ago, man. And like you're already up to this. It's a long off season ahead of you. And it looks like it's going to be a long off season full of foolishness if that's what you're going to be doing. It doesn't make sense. Why, like he's like memes about like what NBA young boy fans are like, and Ja is living that. There's no reason for you to be living like that, bro. That's not either. It's not you, or if it is you, change, man. Change. You don't got to be doing that. Well, I promise you, people who are really in the streets, if you said, hey, you can either keep living like this, or I can give you $200 million to go chill and do whatever you want, to go hoop for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I mean, listen.
Guys out of 5 are choosing the 200 M's, bro. So, it doesn't make sense to me.
Play 10 or 12 years, get all your money, and then when you retire, go and act like an idiot all you want. But at the moment, bro, you represent a corporation, you represent stockholders, you represent sponsors, you represent a lot of people, dude. And that's the part that he doesn't seem to understand and other people don't seem to understand. It's just amazing to me that you would be that stupid and lack awareness. And if there's one thing I say about famous people, athletes, entertainers, politicians, brother, I don't care who you are. When you get to that level, okay, you need to hang around people that have the same thing to lose as you. If you start hanging around with people who have nothing to lose, you're the one that's going to end up losing everything. And I know it sucks to leave the barrio, the hood, the trailer park, wherever it is you come from, leave those people behind, bro. You have to leave those people behind, because if you don't, more often than not, those people are not wired to take care of you. They're wired thinking one way, and unfortunately, it's going to bring you down the way they think.
And his friend who was on live might catch some heat for this. I'm actually on the friend side here. Because one, he tried to pull that joint away when he saw what Ja was doing on the other side. He tried to pull it away. And in the friend's defense, they were just on live goofing around.
Right.
And all of a sudden, Ja pulls a gun out. Like, I'd be like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you knew we were on live. He was all in the camera, singing along, rapping on. He knew they were on camera. And so then he pulls like, what is that friend supposed to do? Oh, my bad. Like I don't know, man. Like, everybody's making excuses for everybody except everybody's putting the blame on everybody else except Ja. Hang around better friends, which again, like, okay. Most of that video, nothing was wrong. 12 out of 13 seconds, nothing was wrong.
the amount of money that Ja makes, he could pay for a security guard next to him to sit in the car back there, and he can be loaded, he can be packing, he can be licensed, he can be a professional, and that's what the smart people do that have money. Okay? You hire a professional around you that knows when to take out a gun, when they're trained and all those kind of things. That's what you should do, bro. If you feel, and I don't blame anybody famous that feels that they have to protect themselves. I totally understand that. But when you're that rich, bro, get a professional around with you. They'll sign a confidentiality agreement, and then it's over, and that's it, bro. And you move on. It's not
Yeah,
that difficult.
it didn't make a lot of doesn't the behavior doesn't make a lot of sense to me, man. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
All right, talk to me about Isaiah Wynn. Your thoughts on the signing of Isaiah Wynn?
Yeah, so I got some mixed reviews, from the Twitter mentions yesterday. Mixed reviews on him. My original tweet, once I had it sourced, was that it's probably competition at right tackle. Somebody said, "What do you mean competition? He's going to start." Not so fast. I don't think as a right tackle, he was not leaps and bounds better than Austin Jackson. He's a better left tackle than he was a right tackle. You could make the argument that he was unhappy with the switch, that he was disenlightened by the, offensive coaching situation in New England last year, and that he didn't put any effort in. Sure. It's still not great. It's not a great look if that was the case. If that was the case, it's still not a great look mentally from a commitment standpoint. But two, I think what people need to realize is Teron Armstead has missed 3 or more games in 9 of his 10 NFL seasons. There's 1 year I think he played 15 or 16 games. He's going to miss time. Like if his past is any indication, I'm not speaking this into existence. I'm not speaking it onto anybody. I don't want it to happen. But if his past 10 years are any indication, he's going to miss a game or 2. Yeah. Probably more. Isaiah Wynn is a good backup left tackle to have. He can compete for spot on the right side. And let's just say he does win it over Austin Jackson and Teron gets hurt. Then you can easily kick him over to the left and you can start Austin Jackson there at right tackle. Like it provides depth. It provides flexibility and versatility. There is an upside. There's a ceiling there. He's a first-round pick for a reason. I think he can even kick inside at guard if need be. I believe he was a guard he played guard at Georgia. I don't remember if I read that correctly or not, but correct me if I'm wrong. He played guard at Georgia. Like it's a quality overall offensive line pick. It's not a slam dunk. He has injury issues of his own. He has commitment issues of his own. He had productivity issues of his own at right tackle. But I think it is a good pick for what it is. If you're looking at it as a next starter, then no, it's not. I'm not going to do backflips over it. If you look at it from the perspective that they're adding a quality offensive lineman who can play multiple positions and add depth, absolutely. You could do so much worse. So much worse than Isaiah Wynn. Strong pick.
I agree with you. There's only one negative I find out of it. Okay, and I mentioned this to Poupart. I had a really strong feeling that they're going to sign Cameron Fleming because he's the guy that can swing. I'm wondering if something happened here in the last 72 hours that the Cameron Fleming thing isn't looking as promising for them, and that's why they made this move for Isaiah Wynn. And I'd rather have Fleming personally over Wynn, to be quite honest, and I think that they would too. So I don't know. Maybe they're just loading up, and maybe they're just waiting for the price point, or whatever. Or I was thinking they were waiting for the June cut for Byron to then be able to have the money to sign, but then they go and sign Wynn. So I'm wondering, is this an issue right now with Cameron Fleming? Is Cameron leaning to somewhere else, and that's why they had to go in the Isaiah Wynn direction?
Not sure. I'm sure we'll get to ask Mike McDaniel about this on May 23rd when they open OTAs to the media. But there's also a very realistic possibility they just like Isaiah Wynn more. again, he's got that first round upside. If Austin Jackson does not work out, and Isaiah Wynn, if it really was an issue of commitment and not talent, and he comes and brings that first round pedigree to the right side of the offensive line, then that's a massive ceiling for this team. Like, that is a massive payoff for this team. But again, I'm not saying he's a Pro Bowl, all-pro caliber left tackle, but he was a good left tackle there for the first 4 years of his career. Injury-riddled seasons, but he was a good starting left tackle up there for New England. I think it's, again, I don't think it's a knock against Fleming. I don't think it's a sign that, like, something was wrong with Fleming. Maybe the numbers didn't line up. Maybe he's weighing his options. There's a lot of variables in there. But from what I see, they took a bird in the hand over two in the bush, or even a bird in the hand over a bird in the bush. I think it's kind of a push between Wynn and Fleming. With Wynn, I think has actually the higher upside. So, you know, are you going for upside or are you going for high floor? And I think they go for the upside here with Isaiah Wynn.
What did you learn at Dolphins rookie mini camp?
I learned that there's rookies in town. Huge shout out to everybody who had, you know, practice reports and like full analyses from a 20-minute viewing session. But in all reality, we saw 20 minutes. We saw 20 minutes of individual drills. We didn't even see team drill. We saw 20 minutes of individual drills of rookies in their first NFL experience period on the field against other rookies, usually from smaller school or generally from smaller schools or, you know, just unheralded backgrounds. Like,
everybody in shape? Did they look like they were in shape?
Yeah, it looked like everybody's in shape, but like
any injuries?
Not that I saw, no.
Okay, then I don't know if there's anything else to see, to be quite honest.
Like I know
I've done this for 3 decades. I don't know what more you can get from what you went to. That's why I just had to ask for fun. But like, you have no access. They're showing you individual and stretching. What are you going to learn from there? Okay, is anybody injured? And does everybody look like they're in shape? What else can you learn from it? There's just nothing, bro.
Exactly. Again, like, shout out to all my peers who had, I'm not discounting what they saw. I'm not discounting their reports at all. Matter of fact, I'm applauding them because the level of effort it takes, the level of attention to detail and work it takes to come up with practice reports from a 20-minute viewing session of 50 UDFAs or 50 rookies, 55 or 45 of which are not going to make the team. Like, I think it's commendable. It's applaudable. It's excellent journalism there. Like, that is, they are hard workers, man, my peers. That's not my assignment. And to be quite honest, if y'all were there, you would see what I'm talking about. It is very difficult to come up with a practice report from a 20-minute viewing session. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, OTAs, I think we get to watch all the practice. Way better. You get team sessions. Yeah. You get to see how guys respond to team sessions, how they respond in individual drills, how they move, how they work. Like this, I'm not ready to judge these guys off of their first ever time on the football field against a bunch of other guys. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot going on mentally. Like, if we got to see the entire weekend, then yeah, maybe I can say, okay, this guy improved day one from day two. This guy was consistent in his back pedal. This guy, I could see his hips are smooth. 20 minutes. No, man. I'm just kind of seeing, like, you're kind of sizing people up at that point. You know, who's got good size, who can move, who can't play. You know, I thought I can tell you there's not going to be any quarterbacks signed to this team. Respectfully, I love James Blackman's attitude, though. After we got to speak to him after practice, loved his attitude, man. Like I said, I covered.
He could be a practice player guy.
Look, he threw decisively. I could say that. He threw it with a little purpose, man. He threw a little purpose. Good size. He seems to have filled out a little bit.
He does have a decent arm, right? I think from what I've been told, he does have a decent arm. So maybe that's one of those guys that becomes like a project on your practice squad for a year. See what he does, see how he develops. Then you put him in meeting rooms, and then you see mentally where he's at and all those kind of things. And so for a year, you'll get to see what he brings to the table, and then you'll find out, okay, this guy's worth another training camp next year or something like that. I could see that kid sticking on to the practice squad as a project. There's so many practice squad positions now. What is it, like 12 or 15 or something?
It was like 15.
15. That's why I can see them always stashing one project quarterback there. You know what I'm saying?
My only thought is that would put 4 quarterbacks in the building. It would put 4 quarterbacks in the building.
Well,
I don't even need 4 quarterbacks.
I hate to say this, but you do have an injury-prone starter. Okay, as much as it's my guy, I have to say, so extra quarterback does not hurt you in this scenario.
I don't know how much somebody is not going to get reps. I think Thompson, you could easily use Thompson to run the scout team if need be, or whoever the third string quarterback is. Obviously, we assume it's Skylar Thompson, unless he beats out Mike White this summer.
You never know. It's just you're the system.
I personally thought, I said it all last summer. I personally thought if he wasn't a rookie last year, he would have beat Teddy out for the number 2 job. He was better than Teddy last summer. So I'm not going to count. I'm not counting the guy out whatsoever.
Plus, you've been at this long enough that you eventually run into it. There's certain guys that sometimes they don't impress you that much, or they do all right in that first year, but then that second year, that light goes on, and all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, this guy's completely different. So you just never know with Skylar. That also, that second year light could be even better for him. It might not. It might be some of the same that you saw this year, but you just never know. That's one thing. One thing you can never predict is when the light is going to go on for a player. And when it does, he just becomes a different person right away.
I always used to say, one of 2 things happens in your first 2 years. You figure the league out, or the league figures you out.
Very good.
Which is why, especially now, year 3 is generally that's when you look and see, all right, year 1, let's say you had you slowed
learning curve.
Yeah. And year 2, the light turns on. Year 3, we see if that's a fluke or not. And even the reverse. Let's say year 1, you were lights out. Year 2, the league says, okay, we know how to play you.
Right.
Year 3, we get to see.
And then you counter. Right.
That's when you get to see. That's when one of 2 areas. Are you your good season? Or are you your down season? Usually comes out. But in those first 2 years, generally that is how it happens. You figure the league out, or the league figures you out in some order. You have guys like a Jalen Waddle, who he's figured the league out back-to-back years. Jalen is good. Jalen's fine. Jalen Phillips, he's figured the league out back-to-back years.
Jalen Waddle gave us 2 different kinds of receivers 2 years in a row. That shows you how effing special that kid is, because he played that tough possession receiver role in that first year. And to ask a rookie to do that shit is special, bro. What he did this past year, that's normal to him, dude. That's what his game is.
Yeah,
you asked him something completely different in that first year, and to me, that's what was so impressive about Waddle, because I don't think a lot of receivers that are his kind of receiver can also do what he did in year 1. That's just
no. I mean, they were asking him to be a slot receiver, and he's not. He's slot receiver sized, but he's not a slot receiver. He's an outside.
His shots, bro.
He's an X, man.
Yeah.
But either way, so there's exceptions to the rules. I think really all 3 guys in the 2021 class have had back-to-back strong years to start their career. That's fine. I'm not looking for them like that. So, but I spoke to Frank Gore about this when we were in Buffalo, and he said, him personally, he usually knows if guys are ready for this league. He's like, I know if you're nice by year 2. By year 2.
All right, what do you got going on ESPN so folks can check you out, my friend?
We got a slow week this week. More roster evaluation here, more projections and predictions. I believe we are back on the field next week. Let me see. Yeah, next Tuesday for the start of OTAs. That's when we really can start having real conversations about where this roster is going, what this depth looks like. Like for now, it's still kind of underwear Olympics, and to be honest, it'll still be underwear Olympics to an extent next Tuesday. But at least we get a broader view. I think, like I said, we get to watch the full practice, if I remember correctly. So we'll get to see team drills. We'll get to see how guys can apply. We'll get to see the application of what they work on in the individual sessions. So. Again, excited for that. We are inching closer and closer to real football here. Love the schedule. Love the schedule drop. No breaks in there. But there is a path to 10 wins. So over-under right now is at 9.5. There is a path to 10 wins. I've laid it out on Twitter. If you want to, if you guys want to look at it. But that's about it, man. Shout out to the NFL for remaining interesting.
I haven't decided yet. It'll be 12 or 13 wins, by the way, this year. 12 or 13.
Again, I said there's a path to 10 wins. It is a plausible path to 10 wins, and I am looking at it strictly from the point of the 9.5 over under. What I will say about the Dolphins last year is when they were healthy, they did not miss layups. They didn't miss layups.
They won 9 games injured. Okay. And no Fangio and no Jalen Ramsey. You had Fangio, Ramsey, and health. 9 wins. Kiss my ass. This team's going to win 12 or 13.
Yeah, that was what I think it flew under the radar last year because of all the injuries that occurred. But like 2021, they missed layups, man. Like they lost to the Jags. They lost to the Falcons.
They have an offensive mind now. They actually have a dude that.
But I'm just saying, like those games have consequences. That used to be my favorite saying in the world when the Jags were bad, which is losing to the Jaguars has consequences. Dolphins lost to them that year. They missed the playoffs by a game. Bills lose to them that year. They miss out on the 1 seed and they have to travel to Kansas City. Like it has consequences. Missing your layups has consequences. They didn't miss layups last year. There were no games where you looked at when they're healthy. There's no excuses. There's no second, third string quarterback playing where you say, wow, they dropped the ball there. Wow, that was embarrassing.
I'm with you there. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ. Catch his work there at ESPN. What are you working on ESPN this week so folks can check you out?
Like I said, we're down. We're slow this week. It's going to be a lot of roster evaluation, little predictions, little projections here and there, position group analyses. But next week, we have plausible things to talk about.
All right. There you go. Marcel, we'll catch up later in the week, my friend. Appreciate you immensely.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Welt and Rheaume, folks. Listen, I know we had all those storms here the last couple of weeks. I'm just wondering, have you settled everything with the insurance company? Are they, giving you the runaround like they normally do? Call Welt and Rheaume. Folks, they do it all, okay? Homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. So if you had an accident somewhere, mall, car, you name it, call Welt and Rheaume. They're in Hollywood, and they help anybody and everybody in South Florida. Even one of our listeners in Orlando hired Welt and Rheaume. So you can call them from wherever. Consultations for free. 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646. Bankruptcy, condo damage, criminal defense, personal injury, commercial litigation, business owner claims. Tell them that Big O sent you. I promise you they'll take care of you, and they will crush the competition that's out there, okay? And they're going to crush the insurance company that's screwing with you. Progressive was messing with us, and Welt and Rheaume absolutely crushed them. Tell them that Big O sent you. Call Jeff right now, 954-966-4646.